And a very good evening to you. Welcome to Easy Friday. I am Shiksha Arora at your service. As I present this live broadcast, our sign language interpreter tonight is Susan Thuku. And of course, we'll be telling you what's happening in the country and beyond. We've also got business news as well as sports news. We'll also be giving you an update on the medical strike that is courtesy of the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, who have maintained that the strike is still ongoing 3 weeks on. So we'll be giving you all the updates on that particular story plus more. But for now, it's time for the highlights.
The manufacture, sale, distribution and consumption of drugs and killer alcoholic drinks is a matter of national security.
Flagged down. Karachi breweries and London distillers among alcohol makers who risk permanent closure in ongoing brewers' cleanup exercise.
There is serious defrauding of the hard-earned money for the Nairobians.
Gunning for Sakaja. Embakasi MP calls for the impeachment of Governor Sakaja after Auditor General's report exposes glaring anomalies in Nairobi government. And consultant doctors at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital down their tools in solidarity with nationwide doctors' strike now in its 3rd week. You're watching KBC Channel 1. This is Easy Friday, and our top story tonight on this live broadcast, where the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers have maintained that they will continue with their industrial action until all the grievances, among them delayed salary payments, lack of promotions and redesignation, are addressed. The union officials said clinical officers play a critical role in universal health coverage, hence the government needs to address their plight. This comes as consultants at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital also downed their tools this Friday.
5 of the clinical officers' industrial action and day 23 of the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union strike. And according to the clinical officers' union officials, they're not willing to resume work unless their grievances, including delayed salaries, lack of promotions, dire shortage of clinical officers, are addressed.
We have seen no response, especially from the Council of Governors, and it's taking quite long. So we have called upon all clinic officers across the country, and on Monday we are going to have a mega demonstration.
Addressing the media Friday morning, the union officials urged the government to appreciate the crucial role they play in actualizing universal health coverage.
And in any case, he should be actually pushing for employment of staff to better services, to ensure that we can actually increase the coverage to achieve the UHC. That is the main agenda of the government.
And in a show of solidarity with the medical practitioners on strike, consultants at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret have also downed their tools.
The lecturers and the doctors have all vowed not to go to any hospital, be it MTRH, be it clinical trainings, be it services in the private facilities across.
A spot check at various public health facilities showed a majority of patients undergoing agony when seeking health services. This was the situation at Mary Teaching and Referral Hospital.
Nilikuwa nimeleta mtoto hospitali, nikaambiwa daktari akaniambia wamegoma niende private.
But speaking in Butere, Kakamega, Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumbicha stated the government's commitment to engage with the union officials aimed at coming up with a lasting solution to the crisis.
I'm calling upon the doctors to come on the negotiating table so that we finish. Because in all this, we must find a solution.
Kasi Chanamasha, Easy Friday.
Now, Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumicha maintains that the government initiatives to reform the National Health Insurance Fund and the Kenya Medical Supplies Agency are meant to ensure affordable and quality healthcare delivery. The Cabinet Secretary, who spoke in Butere, Kakamega County, assured that all level 1 to 4 hospitals across the country will be adequately supplied with medical equipment and medicines the next 3 months. Tilio Marco now has more.
Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumicha was in Butere constituency of Kakamega County on Friday, conducting a number of universal health coverage activities, including spot checks to confirm the status of Butere and Manyala sub-county hospitals. She took the opportunity to reiterate the government's achievement in improving the provision of healthcare services to Kenyans through the community health promoters and the social health authority.
Katika huu mfumo mpya tumebadilisha vile pesa ya NHIF inalipwa. Nyinyi mnajua hiyo NHIF ilikuwa na wakora. Wakora unapata record, mtu amekatwa mguu mmoja, amekatwa mara 3. Na serikali ndio imelipa. Nikasema hiyo ukora lazima ishe.
On the ongoing efforts to transition NHIF into the Social Health Authority and enhance KEMSA's procurement efficiency, she said the government will also digitize records in health facilities to facilitate the monitoring of services.
Kama national government tumeongea pamoja na Council of Governors na tumeanza program ya kupatia equipment the whole country. Kama wizara hiyo advertisement imeshafanywa, in less than 2 months mtaanza kuona equipment zikitembea ili kila mahali kuwe kuko na equipment.
At the same time, the Cabinet Secretary called on jobless but qualified nurses to register with the Office for Onward Recommendation to work in foreign countries. Meanwhile, the government will construct Kenya Medical Training College in Butere constituency through the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Tilio Marco for Easy Friday.
Now, Keroche Breweries Limited, London Distillers Kenya Limited and Africa Spirit Limited and 21 others have until April 8th to comply with the set guidelines, failure to which their licenses, permits and authorizations will be revoked. Kenya Wine Agencies Limited, Savannah Brands Company Limited, Patiala Distillers Kenya Limited have been allowed to resume production after meeting all the requirements. Now, this is according to a report of vetting of manufacturers and distillers of second-generation alcohol released by Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki. Giveson Minor reports.
According to a report on vetting of manufacturers and distillers of second-generation alcohol released Friday by Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki, detailing suppression of manufacture, sale, distribution and consumption of illicit alcohol and narcotic drugs in the country, Keroche Breweries, London Distillers and Africa Spirit are among the 24 entities risking total closure if they fail to meet guidelines in the next 21 days. Others in this category are Platinum Distillers, Two Cousins Distillers, Rift Valley Brewing Company of Thika, and Mamboleo Distillers, among others.
We have determined that the manufacture, sale, distribution and consumption of drugs and killer alcoholic drinks is a matter of national security. It is an existential threat to the future sustainability of Kenya.
In the report, only 5 entities will resume production after meeting the set guidelines. These are Kenya Wine Agencies Limited, Savannah Brands Company Limited, Patiala Distillers Kenya Limited, Kenya Nut Company Limited, and UDV. The vetting was carried out by 8 agencies, namely National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, NACADA, Kenya Bureau of Standards, Kenya Revenue Authority, KRA, Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health Services, Anti-Counterfeit Agency, Public Health Department, National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, and the Department of Weights and Measures. Give us Minor, Easy Friday.
Now, President William Ruto has held bilateral talks with his Guinea-Bissau counterpart, Umaro Sissoco, aimed at strengthening ties between the two nations. In a statement to newsrooms on Friday, President Ruto said that discussions centered around strengthening private sector participation in agriculture, manufacturing and technology transfers, security and blue economy, among other issues of mutual interest. Take a look.
President William Ruto has assured his host Umaro Sissoco of Guinea-Bissau of the Kenya government's commitment to developing instruments to facilitate bilateral cooperation in diverse sectors of mutual interest, including fisheries, agriculture and livestock, blue economy, capacity building for public servants at the Kenya School of Government, health, education and air transport services, among others. The visit comes at the backdrop of ongoing consultations ahead of the inaugural meeting of the Joint Commission for Cooperation following the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding on the 16th of July, the year 2022.
We want to stand in solidarity as the people of Kenya, the people of Guinea-Bissau, and the people of our continent to stand together as independent countries and to face the challenges that face us today. Challenges as they were during the struggle of independence. Today, our challenges are different, but they are equally daunting.
In the discussions, the two heads of state noted the low volume of trade between Kenya and Guinea-Bissau, underscoring the need for collaboration between the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry with its counterpart in Guinea-Bissau to take advantage of the opportunities arising from the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement.
We have removed all visa requirements for travelers, citizens, including those of Guinea-Bissau. They can now travel to Kenya without requirement of any visa, as are other citizens traveling to Kenya.
On matters security, Kenya and Guinea-Bissau have shared a vision for peace, security and stability by including multilateral frameworks, among them intelligence sharing, to ensure coexistence in the respective regions. In ensuring reforms at the African Union, President Ruto reiterated the pivotal role of centralizing the position of the Pan-African Parliament as the people's representatives to provide oversight over the executive and accountability in the organization. He also expressed gratitude to President Sissoco for supporting Kenya's candidature for AAU chairperson for the period 2025 to the year 2028. During the visit, President Ruto was presented with the Medalha Amichel Chabrel, Guinea-Bissau's Medal of Honor. Michael Mondiga for Easy Friday.
Now, President William Ruto's ambassador nominees, vetted by members of parliament on Friday, committed to prioritize enhancing trade ties between Kenya and their respective missions. The National Assembly Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations Committee engaged 5 nominees, including 2 former senators, a retired military general and a professor, on their suitability to represent Kenya abroad.
Peter Mbogo Njiro.
Retired Lieutenant General Peter Mbogo Njiro, nominee for the position of High Commissioner Islamic Republic of Pakistan, was the first to appear before the National Assembly, Defense, Foreign Relations and Intelligence Committee on Friday to defend his suitability to represent Kenya. Njiro, who served the military for 39 years, said he will focus on seeking for opportunities for export of Kenya's products in Pakistan.
I intend to create more opportunities, engage stakeholders, as well as also encourage advertisements.
A similar pledge was made by former Kisumu County Senator Fred Outa, nominee for Cairo, Egypt.
If I approved, I would take the Kenyan stand, and more so, I'll be able to consult with headquarters the current situation of the Nile Basin.
The ambassador nominee for Dakar, Senegal, Professor Anne Nangulu, took pride in her experience as the Prince Pobomet University College. Professor Nangulu said if approved, her focus will be opening up more trade avenues for Kenyans in West Africa.
I always have a problem with teamwork because you can score in your own goal, but I do very good group work. which is the tenants that require for diplomacy.
Foreign Service Officer Timothy Kaluma Mcharo, nominee to Algeria, and former Bomet County Senator Christopher Langat, nominee for Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, were also vetted by the committee. Risho Kawashira, Prime Edition.
Now, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says the technical and vocational education and training program being rolled out at the grassroots in polytechnics and technical institutions in the country is giving millions of young people a new lease of life as they gain requisite skills for the informal and formal sectors. The Deputy President, who spoke during a graduation ceremony for 4,300 students at Nyeri National Polytechnic, said the recognition of prior learning policy launched recently is also aiding certification of self-acquired skills for easier access to job opportunities. He further urged the youth to stay away from illicit brews and drugs for a better future.
Dishe lugha za huko zile kalikali, Kijerumani, Kichina kama mtaweza, Kijapanese, Kiarabu, ndio mambo yenu itembee sawa sawa. Ukipata kozi ya electricity, pia ongeza ingine Kijerumani kidogo. Unakuwa na mbili. Ukiitwa pale interview unakoroka Kijerumani, unapatiwa passport, unasonga. Muende pale mfanye kazi, mtume dollars hapa nyumbani.
Now, members of parliament have been challenged to budget and allocate adequate funding to the education sector in the coming financial year for seamless implementation of the competency-based curriculum. Education stakeholders have noted that resource inadequacy is the major challenge barring full rollout of the syllabus, with the government urged to review implementation framework. Wycliffe Okech now has more details.
At the Migori Teachers Training College in Suna West Constituency, Migori County, education stakeholders have gathered to devise mechanisms of improving education standards in the constituency and beyond. And in light of the ongoing implementation of the competency-based curriculum, the stakeholders cited inadequate resources as the major impediment, with members of parliament challenged to appropriate more funding to the education sector in the coming financial year.
Parliament is to legislate, and Parliament is where money is allocated and appropriated. I have not seen members of Parliament do their role.
The stakeholders also want the government to undertake continuous teacher training in line with the requirements of the CBC curriculum for smooth implementation.
Everybody knows that when there's change in curriculum, teachers need to be retooled. And for the retooling, it is not just saying by the word of mouth. You have to allocate funds for retooling.
You know, many don't understand the three pathways of CBC. We have invited technical team from curriculum development and even the examination council to take us, the stakeholders, through of what is expected of them.
Elected leaders at the event called upon the government to ensure timely disbursement of capitation funds to schools.
How do we expect school principals, head teachers, managers to run schools without money? And yet we insist, and rightfully so, that children or pupils, students should be sent home for school fees.
And we are urging all the stakeholders to dedicate these resources to be able to support CBC and make it a success.
For Easy Friday from Migori County, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Now, over 60 families displaced by insecurity in Saimo Soy, Baringo County are bearing the brunt of heavy rains pounding the area. This comes as the recent forecast from the Kenya Meteorological Department indicates that continued rainfall over most parts of the country is said to be witnessed.
This is the state of over 60 families from Saimo Soy, Baringo South. Out in the rains with no shelter, but a few makeshift tents to shield them from the ongoing long rains. According to a recent report from the Kenya Meteorological Department, the rains are set to continue with showers and thunderstorms expected over several places on Friday night. Rains are expected over a few places in the morning, breaking into sunny intervals, while showers and thunderstorms expected over several places in the afternoon, including the highlands west of the Rift Valley, the Lake Victoria Basin, and the Rift Valley. Highlands east of the Rift Valley, including Nairobi, northwestern, northeastern, southeastern lowlands, and the coast. Serafina Nairobi for Easy Friday.
All right, and with that, it's time for us to take a first commercial break. Remember, you can let us know where you're watching from. The hashtag is Easy Friday at KBC Channel 1 at Shiksha Arora. Let us know where you're tuned in. I've got a message from Mukami and Munene who are tuned in from Loresho. So keep those messages coming in. This is Easy Friday. I am Shiksha Arora. Don't go too far.
The National Treasury and Economic Planning recently launched the fourth medium-term plan MTP4 of the 2023 to 2027 under the theme Bottom-up Economic Transformation Agenda for Inclusive Growth BETA. This is the last 5-year medium-term plan of the Kenya Vision 2030 and will transition the country to the next long-term development blueprint. The objectives of BETA are bringing down the cost of living, eradicating hunger, creating 1.2 million jobs annually, expanding the tax base, improving foreign exchange balance, and inclusive growth.
Back to the future. The future is simulate. Bet smarter. Win faster now. Be a winner. Mozart Bet.
Welcome to Sensei Institute. Mahali skills zangu ni pesa mkononi. At Sensei College, practical skills is the definition. Accredited by the government and founded on a Christian background, Sensei College offers all-rounded programs that are tailor-made to enhance your skills and give you the future you desire. We offer courses such as interior design, fashion and design, hairdressing and beauty, hospitality courses, trailer driving and defensive driving, building construction technology, CCTV, solar and electrical installation, photography and video production, electronic courses, vehicle electronics and mechanic courses, agricultural mechanics, ICT, and many more. To enroll in any of our campuses in Nairobi and Nakuru, all you need is your national ID card. Mapema ndo best. Take advantage of our monthly intake. Come to kusort na skills. Sensei College, my skills, my future.
You mean you are sad because your wife to be had blocked you?
Come see the 7 wonder of the one. Fala is glide.
The love of your life amekupiga character development. Kamele, I pray for the day you will relocate to the city.
She'll definitely go to the School of Character Development. Apenda spende.
Haya, mwanaume unaonekana atunalia mbele ya wanawake. Tunakufunga kwa muti. Tunakuweka vipoko mpaka choi wake asubuhi.
If you think your girlfriend has heartbroken you, then haujawahi penda pesa alafu pesa ikakataa kukupenda back, my brother.
What are you even speaking about now?
Welcome back. Now, Embakasi East Member of Parliament Paul Ongili alias Babu Owino is calling for the impeachment of Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja on account of gross misconduct and mismanagement of county coffers. While addressing members of the Fourth Estate Friday, the legislator cited the just-released audit report for the year ending June 2023 by the Auditor General's Office that flagged glaring anomalies in asset acquisition, ghost workers, pending bills, suspicious bank accounts and unaccounted payments running into billions of shillings.
Barely 24 hours ago, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja delivered his State of the County address at City Hall, envisioning a city of order, dignity, hope, and opportunity.
They said the days when opportunity was a favor and not a right, the days when it was distributed by corruption, cronyism, and quiet nods were over. We have lived up to that standard.
However, the audit report for the year ended June 2023 by the Office of the Auditor General gives a divergent view characterized by over-expenditure, dubious payments, and suspect asset acquisition. The report in part reads, in section of my report, financial statements do not present fairly the financial position of the County Executive of Nairobi City as at June 30th, 2023, and of its financial performance and its cash flows for the year ended in accordance with international public sector accounting standards, cash basis, and do not comply with the Public Finance Management Act of 2012.
There is serious pilferage of funds in Nairobi County. There is serious defrauding of the hard-earned money for the Nairobians, and there is serious misrepresentation of facts.
The auditor cited variance between the financial statements and the trial balance, variance between the financial statements and the ledger, inaccuracies in pending accounts payables.
Auditors cannot confirm the accuracy of cash balances of 1.44 billion Kenya shillings.
Unsupported utilities, supplies and services, unsupported payments of goods and services, inaccuracies in compensation of employees, return to drawer and cash transactions, as well as unsupported payments from the salary account. Governor Sakaja did not honor summons by the Senate Public Accounts and Investment Committee to respond to queries raised by the Auditor General. Regina Manyar reporting for Easy Friday.
Now onto the scales of justice, where Justice Professor Joel Ngugi of the Court of Appeal has found 3 murder suspects guilty of murdering Lucy Njambi Nyakio, Njambi's husband Samuel Ndungu Joroge, Joyce Njambi Mungai, and Wilson Mwangi Munyua had been charged with killing the 22-year-old 6 years ago and dumping her body in a coffee plantation in Kiambu County. Details of this on Scales of Justice.
Lucy Njambi met her death in the hands of a man he called her husband way back in mid-January 2018. And on Friday, Justice Professor Joel Ngugi made a judgment that convicted the suspected trio.
I find that the prosecution has proved the case against each of the 3 of you beyond reasonable doubt, and I hereby convict each of you. Samuel Dongo Njoroge, Joyce Njambi Mungai, and Wilson Mwangi Munywa of the murder of Lucy Njambi Nyageko as charged.
The sentencing of the 3 convicts will be held on 12th April 2024.
We are glad that Her Excellency Chief Justice Martha Kaome has proven to us that justice along issues of GBV and femicide are now being served as they deserve.
Elsewhere, Murang'a Law Court has granted DCI 14 days to hold a murder suspect who killed 2 men in Chui Village, Murang'a County. Appearing before Senior Resident Magistrate Eric Musambai, the investigating officer Wilson Nyaga had sought for 21 days, terming the case of Samuel Kariuki Mwangi, alias Wangomo Azwete.
The suspect to be held in custody for 14 days at Murang'a Police Station, matter to be mentioned on 22nd of April.
The accused was arrested Thursday at Gilgil in Nakuru County, where he had gone hiding. Ruth Wamboi for Easy Friday.
Now, Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has urged Kenyans to give him more time to find a technological solution to the perennial road carnage in the country. Details of this and other stories in our County News Roundup.
Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, who graced the prize-giving day at Our Lady Consolata Mogoiri Girls High School in Murang'a County, said the road accident issue has been piling up since 1963.
We are going to gazette soon school transport regulations that is going to determine how students and school transport is going to be managed. We will want an accountability from our schools in terms of how they manage the drivers and how they manage the vehicles and how they maintain.
Meanwhile, more than 300 needy families from Islamic community in Narok County are said to benefit from food donation courtesy of Musalia Memorial Foundation in partnership with Ahadi Kenya Trust.
So ما نجيوش نخليه ما نجيوش خلاص. لا كل شيء شوف كرة قدم يلزم لها المثابرة والعطاء. عندك 90 دقيقة تلعبها تركز روحك تلعب. جاب الله جاب ما جابش الله ما تندمش على المجهودات. لازم تدير مجهودات لازم تدير التعليمات تاع المدرب لازم تدير كل شيء. والنهار تنهزم تقول أنا عملت كل شيء وربي ما بغاش. لكن هذا هو. لازم
DevKey Group of Companies will launch the Semtech Sebit clinkerization plant in the expansive and scenic county of West Pokot. This plant will produce 2 million tons of clinker per annum, a key component in manufacturing of cement, which will supply the Kenyan and African markets. His Excellency President William Ruto will be the chief guest at the ceremony, which will be held along the Kapenguria-Lodwar Road. Watch this event on 8th April 2024 live on KBC Channel 1 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Shamba ni mbili, yako ni gani? Kwenye star 570 hash. Every 100 shillings unayotumia kwa Lucky Game inakupa 1 entry point ya kuingia kwenye drum ya draw ambayo inakupa fursa ya kujishindia moja kati ya shamba hizi mbili. Mwisho wa April namtangaza mshindi wa shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings na unapata title deed yako safi. Na mwisho wa Mei namtangaza mshindi wa shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings, lori za mawe na mchanga. Ploti ndizo hizi, dial star 570 hash. Title deed ndio hii, fuka na shake.
Ili kupata mtu wa baraka kama sikiza tune yako, bonyeza star 812 star 503 hash.
Wewe, ni kwa nini unafurahia vipaji ili asiye anayetoa? Kwa nini unapenda baraka humpendi mtu wa baraka? Nauliza, ni kwa nini unapenda mchuzi wa papa ila papa mwenyewe humtaki? Ni busara kutambua kuwa ukimpata mtu wa baraka.
Kupata mtu wa baraka kama sikiza tune, bonyeza star 812 star 503 hash. Star 812 star 503 hash.
Hello there and welcome for Business News. Time to have a look at the business news the easy Friday way. My name is O'Brien Kimani. Plans are underway to promote ziplining, gliding, repackaging of 14 Falls Kijabe Springs and forest adventures to attract more tourists to Kiambu County. Tourism Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua says the national and county governments have also identified agro-tourism and medical tourism as well as cultural centers, caves and tunnels as tourism products in Kiambu County, and that should be repackaged and marketed. Dr. Mutua says he's keen to have social amenities, information and security beefed up at tourist sites as part of a nationwide campaign dubbed Utalii Fresh.
Tuko na mahali kwingi ambapo watalii wanaweza kutembea kutoka kule Kilimambogo mpaka kule Kijabi mpaka kule Limuru, hapa Kiambu town yenyewe. Tuko na sites mingi ambapo tunaweza kutembelea na kuita watalii watembee na wafurahie vile wanavyofurahia kwa kaunti zingine. Hapa tuko na ile tunaita medical tourism, inawezekana Kiambu County.
Hizi fisi zilizaana sana wakati wa ukame. Kwa kuhakikishia watu wa Kiambu, watu wa Juja, mheshimiwa na wengine wote na governor ya kwamba sisi tunaweka kipaumbele security ya wananchi wetu, kwa kuweza kuambia watu wetu vile wataishi vizuri bila kushambuliwa na fisi, na tuna system tumeweka in place na Kenya Wildlife Service ya kuwamaliza hao fisi na kuwaondoa kabisa wasiumize watu wetu.
The Institute of Engineers of Kenya has called on the government to implement a unified scheme of service that ensures fair compensation for engineers. IEK President-elect Engineer Shama Kiteme says the move comes as a response to the challenges and disparities experienced by engineers in terms of career progression and remuneration.
The IEK has highlighted the need for a standardized scheme of service that would provide clear guidelines for the roles, responsibilities and career progression of engineers working in both the public and private sectors. IEK President-elect Engineer Shama Kiteme says there is lack of consistency in job classifications, job descriptions and salary structures for engineers, leading to disparities and dissatisfaction among professionals.
Opportunities that are supposed to be available for engineers, Kenyan engineers, at times go to foreigners while we still have local capacity. And that's why we're saying we are going to engage, especially public sector, MDS, ministries, departments and agencies, and SAGAs, so that we encourage the space to be given and created for Kenyan engineers.
The institution has proposed collaborative efforts between the government, private sector stakeholders and professional bodies to formulate and implement a comprehensive scheme that takes into account the diverse roles and specialities within the engineering profession.
We'll support the government in areas where they are supposed to, they have called upon us, and we'll also call upon them to liaise and consult with the institution to ensure that we work together going forward.
The approach will ensure engineers in Kenya remain competitive, skilled and motivated to contribute effectively to national development agendas. Frederick Muki for Easy Friday.
Well, banks should forge more partnership with cooperative societies to expand financial services to micro, small and medium enterprises. CDN Bank CEO Shege Thombe says partnerships between banks and SACCOs will create an integrated financial system that will help capitalize the small businesses. Thombe is calling on financial institutions to make more provisions for non-performing loans to shield small businesses from liquidity challenges.
We also have supported a lot of contractors in those who could not even access things like bid bonds, SMEs who are looking for business in the government, in the parastatals. We're able to offer them solutions that help them to be able to go for tenders in government or parastatals. We have had challenges in NPL, just like other institutions in the sector, but those we are dealing with, looking at what is the best way for the customer instead of selling their assets. And one of the things that we do is to understand, do we give you some more financing? Do we give you more time? Do we restructure? How do we work with you so that you can recover the business?
Insurance companies should tap artificial intelligence to deal with cases of fraud that continue to stalk the industry. The Insurance Regulatory Authority says technologies like artificial intelligence can detect and analyze emotions in written and spoken word, as well as other anomalies to detect fraud in the insurance industry that eats 25% of underwriters' profit margins.
Insurance fraud has been a major headache for the insurance industry in Kenya, leading to the collapse of some players. According to Insurance Regulatory Authority, though motor, private and medical business classes are the largest, they are also among the most loss-making businesses in the industry. IRS says the industry has adopted the integrated motor insurance data system, which has made it possible to track the insurance history and claims of all vehicles insured in the country.
What matters is the service that you give and your ability to be able to serve your clients well. And depending on the product that you have to offer to the market, you can get as many customers as they are there.
IRA commissioners urge those registering for insurance to read and understand the terms of covers before signing a contract to avoid future problems as a result of clauses not understood in the contract.
Insurance companies, once you sign a contract, then they are obligated to serve you as per that contract they have signed. So we want to advise members of the public to make sure that they read their contracts, understand, sign, and expect that level of service from those underwriters at all times.
Ian Muse, Easy Friday.
In African governments, policymakers and industry stakeholders should collaborate to advance artificial intelligence governance and drive its adoption across the continent. Speaking at the second session of the Africa AI Journalist Academy organized by Microsoft, Akua Gieke, the Government Affairs Director for Microsoft Africa, unveiled 5 strategies that can help accelerate AI use in Africa.
The strategies include implementation and building upon new government-led AI safety frameworks. So far, several African countries have already begun to formulate policy frameworks and are helping lead discussions around AI policy. Another strategy calls for safety breaks for AI systems and control critical infrastructure. To address AI's legal and regulatory challenges, a framework mirroring AI's technology architecture is needed. Another strategy is to promote transparency and ensure academic and public access to AI. The 5th strategy calls for new public-private partnerships to use AI as an effective tool to address the inevitable societal challenges that come with new technology. Meanwhile, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers is calling on automakers to use some of the locally made components in their assembling operations. Kenya Association of Manufacturers Chief Operating Officer Tobias Alando says localization helps create jobs at all levels of the value chains and support skills transfer within the Kenyan market.
Our ask to government is to provide tax incentives for every company that does localization to spur investment in this area and also to create more employment.
Alando also called on the government to incentivize local manufacturing to make Kenyan products competitive. Edna Murungi, Easy Friday.
In elsewhere, the Bank of Kigali has closed its representative office in Kenya in a strategic decision by the lender to focus more on digital services as well as delivery channels. Alan Naoko with the details.
This year, the Bank of Kigali announced that it will be pumping more investments in digital banking systems for its customers. The then Nairobi Securities Exchange and Rwanda Stock Exchange cross-listed lender said that heavy investments in modern ICT infrastructure in recent years has enabled 70% of its clients to currently transact on digital channels. This development has now led to the closure of its Kenyan representative office. In a statement, the Central Bank of Kenya says the Bank of Kigali has, after 11 years, ceased to operate in Kenya. The Bank of Kigali says about 90% of the Bank of Kigali's customers will access their services on digital channels such as internet banking, mobile applications, and other online platforms by the year 2025. Alanaoko, Easy Friday.
And that's how we are capping the business week on the Friday edition. My name is O'Brien Kimani. Wahome is coming up next with sports news, and thereafter, Shiksha Arora will be back with more. Have a good night.
Aviator instant game. Be a daring pilot and earn by how much high you can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozart Bet.
CAF Champions League brings together the best of the best in the African football scene this weekend. Champions League, where legends rise.
Sports News is brought to you by Mozart Bet.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Easy Friday Sport. The Kenya Pipeline women's volleyball team opened their campaign at the Kenya Pipeline Act 50 volleyball tournament on a winning note after beating Nairobi Prisons and KDF in straight sets in their opening matches. At the Moi International Sports Center Kasarani, the three-day event has attracted over 20 teams from across the country and ends on Sunday.
Women's matches, Kenya Pipeline boosted their chances of lifting this year's trophy after thrashing Nairobi Prisons 3-0 in the opening match of the tournament. In another match, Post Bank humbled Kenya Army 3-1 at the same venue. In the senior men's category, Equity won 3-0 against Kenya Army. Nairobi Prison fell 20-25, 17-25 and 23-25 to KDF at the Nyayo Volleyball Court. In the schools category, Rudhumito Secondary defeated Upper Hill School by straight sets. Winning teams will take home 100,000 shillings each, with the runners-up pocketing 75,000 shillings.
The girls are in top form, and we do expect this year they'll luckily come with the cup back home in not only Kenya Pipeline, but also being ambassadors for our country.
So we are going to change this tournament now to be a Kenyan Cup next year. This is an advanced stage, and we will be having a continuous Kenyan Cup alongside with the National League.
The event will also have a competition for the retired Volleyball National League legends. This tournament is crucial for the teams preparing for the Africa Club Championship, set to be held next month in Cairo, Egypt. Hosts Kenya Pipeline women's volleyball team this Friday served off the Kenya Pipeline Company at 50 volleyball extravaganza with a resounding 3-0 win over the Prisons at the Moi International Sports Center Indoor Arena here in Nairobi. 8 women's and 12 men's national teams are battling for the win in the finals on this Sunday. Nora Mwangi for Easy Friday.
Now moving on is that Kipsumu's Obunga FC have been paired with Liza FC from Central in the quarterfinals of the Chapa Dimba National Football Tournament following the draw conducted this afternoon in Nairobi. Season 1 champions Nyakach Girls will play Changamwe Ladies from Coast Region in the tournament set to begin on the 11th of this month.
Thrilling encounters are expected at the quarter-final stage of Chapadimba football tournament following the draw conducted today in Nairobi. Host Obunga FC will take on Laser FC from Central Region, with the two sides already being labelled favourites for this year's national title. Bandari Youth from Coast Region will face Wajir All-Stars from Northeastern. Pasklanga from Rift Valley will play against Dandora's Young Kings from Nairobi, while Ebwali FC from Western Region will take on Chuka University Scorpions from the Eastern Region. In the girls category, Season 1 champions Nyakash Girls will play Changamu Ladies from Coast Region. Brenda Girls from Western Region will take on Simiyu Secondary. Dagoretti Mix from Nairobi will take on Uyeta Girls of Rift Valley, while Barcelona Ladies meet Wajir Queens from Northeastern. After the quarter-finals, action moves to Mamboleo Stadium for semi-finals, which will be played on Friday and Saturday in readiness for the finals, to be played on 14th April at Mamboleo Stadium. Faith Akinyi for Easy Friday.
Now, top of the table, Gor Mahia will face Kakamega Homeboys in one of the 4 FKF Premier League matches lined up tomorrow as the top flight league resumes after the international break. Gor Mahia sit at the top of the table on 50 points and will be looking for a win against Kakamega Homeboys, who are 13 points behind in 7th position. Second place, Tusker FC are also in action tomorrow away to Kariobangi Sharks. Tusker are desperate for a win to keep alive their slim chance of being crowned champions of Kenya at the end of the season, and must collect maximum points from Sharks, who are 12th on the table and fighting for survival. Shabana will host Posta Rangers in the other game of the day as Bandari visit Olindi Stars. And the Kenya National Rugby Sevens teams have been pulled in Group C in the third and final round of the men's and women's World Rugby HSBC Sevens Challenger 2024. The men's event will be held between the 18th and 19th of next month in Munich, Germany, while the women's event will take place on the same date in Krakow, Poland. In the women's competition, Kenya are in Pool C together with Belgium, Poland and Mexico. In the men's competition, Kenya are in Pool C alongside Chile, Portugal and Japan. The Challenger tournament acts as a pathway to the World Rugby 7 Series in the 2024-2025 season. The top 4 men's teams and women's team from the 2024 Challenger Series will compete in a promotion and relegation playoff in Madrid. And Red Bull's Max Verstappen posted the fastest time in the opening free practice session in the Japanese Grand Prix this morning, closely followed by his teammate Sergio Perez and Australian Grand Prix winner Carlos Sainz Jr. Meanwhile, American Logan Sargent encountered a significant setback due to a self-described silly error resulting in a crash. The collision with the wall caused considerable damage to his car, but unfortunately did not lead to any chassis damage.
Sargent found the barriers at turn 7.
In the week where Logan Sargent desperately needed to perform, he crashed and played no further part in the day's running. It's another big job for the Williams mechanics, who have a long day ahead repairing the car for Saturday. No such problems for Red Bull's Max Verstappen, though, who looks to right his wrongs of his DNF last time out and top the session with a 1-minute 30.056. Free practice 1 was mostly dry but cool, where Spaniard Carlos Sainz made another strong start to the weekend in third, just 2 tenths behind Verstappen. George Russell was the lead Mercedes in fourth, with Hamilton 13 thousandths behind, with positive reports of his silver arrow. Home favourite Yuki Tsunoda put his RB between the McLarens of Piastri and Norris in ninth, while his teammate Daniel Ricciardo sat on the sidelines, making way for Super Formula driver Ayumu Iwasa, who wound up 15th.
Half an hour to go. Oscar Piastri.
Piastri set the benchmark in a rain-affected free practice 2 with a 1-minute 34.7. Hamilton went second fastest, followed by Leclerc, Tsunoda and Ricciardo. Those were the only timed laps set in an unrepresentative session for tomorrow's qualifying and Sunday's Grand Prix. For Easy Friday, I'm Emmanuel Ndunu.
Well, and that's the sport for tonight. But remember, don't go to sleep yet. We've got some entertainment for you. And remember that at 11 o'clock, Simba Sports Club of Tanzania will be up against Al Ahly of Egypt. It's a return leg of the quarterfinals of the CAF Champions League. Playing now, Yanga of TZ against Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa, live on Y254. So remember that we've got all that lined up for you. This is your True Sports partner. My name is Daniel Wahome. Have a good night. Back to you, Shiksha Arora.
News was brought to you by Mozart Bet.
You can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozart Bet.
All right, and with that, it's time for us to say goodbye to you. Thank you so much for watching Easy Friday. I am Shiksha Arora. The sign language interpreter has been Susan Thuku. And remember, we've also got DJ Cole Jacks on the decks as he keeps that Friday fever on. But before I leave, I'd like to leave you with a story that I think we all need to know more about. I'm talking about the holy month of Ramadan. As we embrace the diversity of cultures and traditions that enrich our nation, tonight on My Culture, we delve into the intricacies of the sacred month of Ramadan, a highly respected observance for millions around the globe. Let's begin with the basics. What is Ramadan? Do you know? Well, you're about to find out, and I'll see you next week, same time, same place. Good night.
Indeed, fasting has been prescribed upon you as it was prescribed upon those who are before you, so that you can attain righteousness.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Hundreds of Muslims in the country and around the world are observing the holiest month in the Islamic calendar, Ramadan.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
A time marked by fasting, reflection, community service, and family gatherings. But what exactly is Ramadan, and why is it so significant for Muslims?
Ramadan mainly is meant for training. We train ourselves to abstain. We train ourselves to share. We train ourselves to observe things that will make us closer to Allah.
During Ramadan, Muslims engage in fasting from dawn till dusk, abstaining from food, drink, and other physical needs.
After the sunset, then one is free to enjoy himself and to enjoy the good things that Allah has provided him for.
But fasting is just one aspect of this month-long observance. Let's take a closer look at its significance.
The last 10 days of Ramadan are more important than the previous 20 days of Ramadan. That is why at this particular time, Muslims do their best and they dedicate themselves to ibadah, to acts of worship, to make sure that they finish Ramadan with a very big bang, in a manner that they feel that indeed they have benefited from Ramadan.
Fasting during Ramadan is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, which form the framework of a Muslim's faith and practice. It serves as a means to foster empathy for the less fortunate, to practice self-discipline, and to deepen one's connection with Allah.
Those of us who are able, they are out to assist those who are not able. And this is throughout the year, and more so during the month of Ramadan. We are told Prophet Muhammad was very generous, and he was even more generous during the month of Ramadan. So this is a quality that we should achieve and even practice it after Ramadan.
And as the faithful come together in prayer each night, they find strength and solace in their shared commitment to their faith.
These 10 days of Ramadan, we have a special act of worship known as i'tikaf. I'tikaf simply means confining oneself in the masjids, in a mosque, and specifically for ibadah. And if you go to different mosques in the last 10 of Ramadan, you will find people spending their 24 hours in Ramadan for 10 days. And this is just dedication for ibadah, dedication for act of worship. They leave everything about the world. They even minimize their usage of their gadgets like mobile phones and iPads and the rest, and they dedicate themselves for prayers, mentioning the name of God in plenty, and reciting the Holy Quran, and teaching one another the good things in the masjid, the teachings of Islam, and so forth and so on.
Allahu Akbar, Allah.
One of the most notable aspects of Ramadan is the Taraweeh prayers, which are held each night throughout the month. These prayers are performed after the evening prayer and are known for their lengthy recitations of the Quran.
Specifically, in a day, we normally pray 5 times a day. In Ramadan, there is an additional prayer that we pray. After the 5th prayer, there is another prayer that we pray known as the night prayer or Taraweeh. In the last 10 days of Ramadan, there is even another form of this night prayer that we pray, whereby Muslims gather early in the morning, around 2 a.m., 1 a.m., whereby at different mosques you will hear people praying. So there's a specific prayer where people pray within the month of Ramadan. Why do we have to pray a lot during the night? Because we are told that within Ramadan, specifically in the last 10 nights of Ramadan, there is a night. If a person is given the ability to do worship in that night, then he or she will be rewarded as if he has worshipped or she has worshipped for 83 years. And this is mentioned in one of the chapters of Quran.
Ramadan is a time for spiritual growth and reflection. But who is required to fast, and are there any exceptions?
We have children who are below the age of 15 years. We have breastfeeding women or women who are pregnant. We have very ill individuals, very sick individuals who cannot fast. We have elderly people who cannot fast anymore. We have people who are insane, who have some mental problems. We are travelers, a person who is traveling and who is going through difficulties through his travel, then he is also exempted from fasting. And we also have other people who are exempted from fasting, a woman who is experiencing postnatal period, meaning that she has just gave birth and she cannot fast. She's also exempted from fasting.
It's clear that Ramadan holds deep spiritual and communal significance for Muslims. Ramadan Mubarak and Ramadan Kareem are common greetings exchanged during this auspicious month. They convey blessings and well wishes for a spiritually fulfilling and generous Ramadan. Ramadan is the last 29 or 30 days depending on the sighting of the new crescent moon.
Before Eid al-Fitr, there is a charity which is known as Zakat al-Fitr. It is must upon every able Muslim, not only the Muslim himself and those who depend on him, at least to pay something on his behalf and his behalf of his family, to remember those who are less fortunate in the society. And this is known as Zakat al-Fitr. So Zakat al-Fitr is a kind of charity which is given in form of food stuff to those who are less fortunate in the society. Zakat al-Fitr is given 2 or 3 days before the Eid day and in the morning of the Eid day before the Eid prayers.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين.
This year, Ramadan began on March 11th and is expected to conclude on April 9th, with Muslims worldwide celebrating Eid al-Fitr, the festival marking the end of Ramadan.
If the moon is sighted on the eve of 9th, then we'll celebrate the Eid on 9th. If the moon is sighted at the eve of 10th, then the Eid will be on Wednesday on 10th. Eid al-Fitr simply, it is a celebration day. It is a day that we're not allowed to fast. This day we ought to go out early in the morning around 8 a.m., 9 a.m., whereby Muslims gather in open places and they perform the prayers together. After prayers, they congratulate one another for completing the holy month of Ramadan successfully, and then after that, people are allowed to visit one another, family members, those who are less fortunate in the society, sharing whatever they have.
From all of us at the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, Ramadan Mubarak. Jackie Wambiru, My Culture.
Zidisha ushindi wako hadi 1,000,000 na multi bonus 1000%. Kuwa mshindi. Mozartbet.
This is Hendrix Sound. It's gotta be DJ Cold Jack.
The beat will never stop. Whiskey on the rocks, you're dealing with the boss, yeah. Bigger shot, na niku washi and my post to post ki photo. Shadow